Ocean Springs, Mississippi. Different people behave and react to the same situation. Some people are jumping out saying, hey,
What is up, guys? My name is Lex. We are here in Florida. This is my apartment, and today's video is going to be a 5-10 no limit session at Harrahs Pompano Beach. As you guys saw in the beginning, we do have a special guest. Her name is Callie. She's a little Australian doodle puppy. She's one of the cutest little puppies that I've seen. I'm actually pet sitting for one of my friends while she's out of town, so I get to watch this cute little puppy for a while. But today's video is gonna be a little bit different, a little vlog style. I'm gonna take you guys through my day leading up to the poker session. We're gonna take these dogs on a walk. We're gonna go to the gym. We're gonna get some money. We're gonna eat. We're gonna play some poker. It should be fun. Let's go. Something that I recently just did in the last 6 months, and it's been a complete game changer, is I started a front money account at some casinos in the area. So a front money account is basically like your own checking account within the casino. You can put money or chips in there and it's safe inside. You have a balance, and then you can withdraw or deposit at any time. So I have one in Vegas, I have one down here in Florida, and it really helps because I don't want to be traveling around with $20,000, $25,000. That's what I used to do. I used to walk around with $15,000, $20,000 in chips and cash on me, and obviously that's not the safest thing. So I started the front money account here a couple months ago, and it's been super nice, very convenient. But the only unfortunate thing is if I play at a different location like the Harrahs, I have to then go to the Hard Rock, pull out cash. But I think it's much safer there. One thing that has been a little frustrating the last year or two is I've been dealing with some back pain, some lower back pain. I think it has to do with the fact that I'm getting older, has to do with the fact that I sit at a poker table for like 4, 5, 6 hours a day, probably not stretching the most either, but I had a really bad back issue like a couple months ago, so I really haven't clean and jerked or snatched that much weight. My best ever lifts for those lifts in the clean, I hit 350 pounds like 4 years ago. And then I snatched 270 pounds like 5 years ago. So I'm nowhere near close to that now. I hit 235 today, power clean and jerk. I'm just trying to get back into it though. I'm trying to work my way back into it slow, not hurt myself. But we got a sweat on, we got some lift on, some muscle ups, some lunges, and now we are finally heading to the poker room.
but I might mill around and see what's going on. 50.
Starting with a $3,000 buy-in here at the Harrahs, I look down at Ace King right off the bat. There's a button straddle to 25. I raised to 75. Hijack call 75. Cutoff and button call. 4 ways to an Ace 10-5 rainbow board. Top pair, top kicker on a pretty unconnecting board. There is some straight draws like some gut shots, but not really too much to be worried about. I put out a small bet on this flop, $100. I do think I could probably go a little bit bigger here. The hijack calls 100, and now the button raises me to 400. Well, can't be folding top pair, top kicker right away, but this is a little bit concerning. This doesn't seem like a bluff. He can easily have 2 pair, but I gotta see what happens on the turn. So I make the call for 400, and the hijack player folds. Heads up now to the jack of diamonds. Not my favorite card. This brings in king, queen for a straight. Now ace jack is beating us. I check over to the button, and he continues for an $800 bet. A pretty sick spot to be in, given the fact that this is one of the first hands of the game. Nobody's tilted yet, nobody's down money, which leads me to thinking that he's just never going to be bluffing here. He most likely has 2 pair, possibly a set. I don't think my ace king is any good, but I want you guys to go down in the comments. Let me know what you would do in this situation after you got raised on the flop. Facing an $800 bet on the turn with top pair, top kicker. Let me know what you would do in this situation. I decided to just let this one go, and my opponent did show me 10-5 suited for 2 pair on the flop. Moving along now about half an hour after that first hand, there's a couple calls for $10. I've got pocket 8s here in middle position. I raise it up to $75. I could overcall here, but that seems pretty passive. There is a raise next to act in the hijack to $325. A cold call in the small blind, and now the action's back over on me. Well, facing a raise to $325 and a cold call, I'm finishing up the action here with pocket 8s. We could try to hit an 8 and win a massive pot. I'm around $3,000 effective, so I put in $325 going 3 ways in a 3-bet pot, and the flop comes out 3-8-8, flopping quads. All right, that's a pretty damn good flop. Small blind checks, I check, initial 3-better puts out a bet of $400. What a beautiful situation to be in. You flop quads, the initial raiser bet's $400. Unfortunately, the small blind player folds, action back over on me. Now, what do? You flop quads in a 3-bet pot. The person bets $400. He's got about $3,000 behind. I think about 95% of the time here you should just call. Folding seems a little bit too tight, right? Yeah. Can't be folding quads here on the flop. So folding is out of the question, but I think to myself, maybe a raise here could work out. When he 3-bets pre-flop, he's probably going to have a lot of pocket pairs like 9s, 10s, jacks, queens, kings, and aces, and all those hands will never be folding to a raise here on the flop. If I just call, I risk a scared card coming out, killing my action, so I raise it up to $1,000 here, and unfortunately, my opponent snap folds. I guess I could have overplayed this hand, or maybe I misplayed this hand, but I was going for the max. I was going for the full double up, but can't complain. Flopping quads, my second hand here. Doesn't get too much better than that. A couple players at the table are getting some drinks, so I decided to get myself a nice glass of red wine here just to loosen up the hinges a little bit. There's a raise to $100 in this hand on the button. I've got queen jack suited in the small blind, most likely a 3-bet or fold hand here, but I decided to just call, try to get in the mix, especially because the player on the button doesn't raise very often. Well, we end up going 4 ways to king jack 6 with 1 spade. I flop second pair, I check, other 2 players check, and now the button bets $200. I think in this situation I could easily fold, given the fact that there are 2 more players left to act, and the button bets into all these people, but I just had a feeling here that he wasn't too strong, that either he had a pair underneath a king, or possibly a hand like ace 10 or ace queen or something like that, or possibly a jack. So I decided to pounce on this potential weakness and raise it up here to $650. This is somewhat of a value bluff kind of mix here where I can get better hands to fold and I can get worse hands to call. What I mean by a value bluff here is that I can get him to call with worse hands like queen 10, ace queen with a backdoor flush draw, ace 10 with a backdoor flush draw, and I can also get him to fold out slightly better hands than me like ace jack or pocket queens. I mean, my raise here is very polarized. I raised after he bet into all these people, so I should have a lot of strong hands here when I do this. I do have a jack in my hand, so I block him from having pocket jacks. I don't think he's going to have two pair like jack 4 or king 4. So facing this $650 bet, he decides to fold, and we take this one down.
I'm just calling just to be on video.
TV table?
This next hand, we get into a dream spot. As you can see, we peel back pocket aces, which some people may consider the best starting hand in poker. Well, there's a raise from the low jack player to $75. I 3-bet next to act to $275, and the cutoff player cold calls my 3-bet for $275, saying he wants to make the vlog, and now the button player with $1,300 in his stack jams all in. So there's a raise, I 3-bet aces, there's a cold call, and then a 4-bet jam all in for $1,300, and now the hijack player is thinking over his options. Obviously, I'm praying that the initial raiser has a big hand here, and maybe he jams all in or calls $1,300, but unfortunately, he folds. I call $1,300, cutoff player folds, and we're all in here. Heads up with pocket aces. Let's see if we can hold.
Drag and drop? Oh, yeah. It's really, it's pretty sweet. I love it.
Aces.
Aces.
That's a good hand.
Fred, where were you at, man? You're supposed to go all in.
Right?
Yeah. Not flush.
Flush on the top.
Whoa. I'm glad we went twice.
Andrew!
Wow.
Jesus, that's pretty unlucky. If I'm playing 5-10, I'd rather just run out the board one time, but at this game, I just let my opponent choose, and it's a good thing we did because ace 5 of clubs hits the nut flush on the top board and aces hold on the second board. A little bit unlucky there. We were a massive favorite, aces versus ace 5 for about a $3,000 pot, but that is just how poker goes. Sometimes you win with aces, and sometimes you chop. Some time goes by and I don't pick up anything playable. There is a button straddle though in this hand. The small blind raised to 50, which seems kind of small. I pick up a beautiful 9 deuce of clubs, which is my birth year, 1992. Gotta play this hand. I 3-bet here to $160, and I end up getting 2 calls.
I think I have 10.
Good luck.
Yeah, I need luck here.
Down by 7.
3 ways in a 3-bet pot with a monster hand, 9 deuce suited, and we actually flop top pair on 9, 3, 4, 2 spades. Small blind checks, I bet out $300 here. Cutoff player makes the call for $300, and the small blind snap calls my $300 bet. I just am punting here probably. Turn card, ace of spades, pretty bad card. Now brings in the flush. Also brings in an overcard to my 9. Small blind slows down and checks. I check, and now the cutoff player checks behind. Alright, not too bad. And the river card is the 7 of clubs. Now the small blind player, who just called on the flop, leads into me now for a $600 bet. On the surface, this may look like a very easy fold. We have second pair with a terrible kicker and a 3-bet pot. There's a flush there, there's an overcard, but when the small blind leads out for $600 into 2 people, he's very polarized to basically saying he has a flush or a bluff. I don't think he's betting a 9 for this sizing. I think if he had an ace, he wouldn't bet the river, possibly check. If he did have a set or 2 pair, I think he'd be raising on the flop after I bet and the cutoff player called. So I'm really considering hero calling here with my 9. I don't think the cutoff player has much because once I checked to him on the turn, he checked back. So after thinking for a little bit of time, I decide to hero call with my 9 deuce, and the cutoff player puts us into our place when he raises to $3,000. Small blind player who was bluffing folds. Of course, I fold now, and the small blind player shows pocket 7s for a set on the river, and I end up just punting off over $1,000 here with 9 deuce suited. Whoops. As you can see, my phone was so disgusted with my play, it just jumped right off the table. Well, in this hand, I feel like I play a little bit better poker. There's a button straddle to 25, a call from the big blind for 25. I peel back kings. In early position, I raise to 125. Cutoff player calls 125. Button player calls. Big blind calls 4 ways with pocket kings. And we end up getting one of the worst flops possible for pocket kings. 7, 8, 9, all spades. There's 2 pairs that beat us, straights that beat us, Flushes beat us, sets beat us, so when the big blind checks, I check, cutoff player checks, and now the button bets $300. Big blind player folds, and like I said, it's a terrible flop, but the button could be betting worse hands. He could bet a 10 for a straight draw, maybe a 9. If he does have 2 pair, maybe we could counterfeit him. I don't know. Let's see what happens here on the turn. We end up going heads up now to a jack. So now any 10 makes a straight. This jack could bring in 2 pairs as well. I check. If he bets here, I'll be snap folding, but the button decides to check behind, which is decent news. And the river card pairs the jack, which I think is actually a good card. If he did have 2 pair on the flop with 9-7, 8-7, or 8-9, he's now counterfeited. I think it's definitely possible he could just have a single 9 here. He would be betting a straight. He'd be betting a flush on the turn. So I decided to lead out for a thin value bet, but for a big sizing, thinking that this particular player will call me pretty light given the fact that I've been playing a little bit wild. I make it $1,000 here with pocket kings, just targeting a 9x hand, something like queen 9, king 9, or ace 9, or possibly a counterfeit 2 pair that he doesn't want to get away from. And eventually he does call, and we show the kings, and they are good. So we did punt off there with 9 deuce, but we end up getting it all back the very next hand here with pocket kings. I was definitely not expecting to win that hand, and even when he called the river, I didn't think I won. Well, it's about that time for another glass of wine, and in this next hand, I get pretty out of line. Well, there's a couple calls for $25 over a straddle. I decided to make it $200 here with 8-5 offsuit in the cutoff. My goal for this hand was just completely bluffing pre-flop, hoping my opponents would fold and we could take down this dead money, but that doesn't happen when a short stack player with around $700 in his stack makes the call. We end up going heads up to queen 9-5 rainbow.
Yeah, okay.
I was gonna give you action.
I was bluffing. I was hoping everybody would fold.
Because I didn't see it until I drank.
Check.
You got 600 behind it?
Yeah, 7.
This is going to be a tough one.
Is this gonna be the So I'm just gonna.
Well, I'm talking.
All right, all in. If you got a pair, you got me.
Gosh.
Tell them to buy me.
On the board, I mean.
That's what don't worry about it.
I wish I had my headphones on and I heard your word you said.
Oh, that's great. That's all.
I have a pair on that board. One of them.
Yeah, I called it.
Twice. No, once. Once or what do you do?
Whatever you want, I don't care.
I said twice, so we'll
Yeah,
always
whatever
do
he
twice.
wants. I'm going runner full house is what I'm going to.
I have 5. Chops. Oh no.
No?
You win.
Scoop.
You win.
Yeah.
Damn it. You sure you don't want to chop?
I wouldn't want to chop.
Why'd you think so long?
He only had a 5.
5. You only had a pair of
man.
5s.
You made me think I was going to win. I'm guessing you guys are going to see a Doug Polk hand review on this one. One of the sickest coolers in the year of 2023. 8-5 versus Ace-5 on Queen 9-5.
Breaking news!
Alright, enough with the punting. Let's play good poker. There's a $75 raise and the cutoff a call for 75. I 3-bet, I guess we're going to keep punting here. I 3-bet 6-5 suited to $400 and only the initial raiser makes the call. So we're heads up here, a little over $800 in the middle, and the flop comes out 7 deuce deuce rainbow. We flop completely nothing here, but we should have a range advantage. I don't think my opponent's going to ever have a deuce here. I can have aces, kings, and queens, and he probably doesn't have big strong hands like that. I continue for 275, and my opponent makes the call. Turn card jack of diamonds doesn't bring me any extra help here, but it could be a scare card for a hand like a 7, pocket 8s, pocket 9s, pocket 10s. So I continue for a bluff here of $600, and unfortunately my opponent makes the call again. Well, this hand is not going as planned. The guys on TV just make it so easy. When they're bluffing, people just fold to them. I was hoping he would fold on the flop. I was praying he would fold on the turn, but that didn't happen. There's over $2,500 in the middle, and the river card is the 8 of clubs. We have 5-6 high and a 3-bet pot. out of position after betting on the flop and betting on the turn, and now we have a decision to make. Should we give up and check and just always lose here with 6 high, or should we empty the clip? Should we go for it? Should we triple barrel bluff?
It's so weird, like, you almost bought
Sometimes in poker, when you've gone so far, you've just got to finish the job, and I decided to go for it here with a $2,200 river bluff with 6 high. Now, if I did have aces, kings, queens, or pocket jacks, I would be going for a big bet here on the river. I could have jammed all in for my $3,800 stack, but I feel like that would just look a little bit more bluffy. The pot's a little bit more than $2,500. I'm betting $2,200. I'm hoping it'll look like I've got aces or kings or queens, and he'll fold one pair. He then tells me he wishes I had more money so that he could jam, and eventually he folds 7-8 suited for a counterfeit 2 pair. He said he put me on an over pair. Thank God we got this one through. I really went for this one this time. I mean, the wine was flowing through my bloodstream, so it didn't feel as bad, but don't get me wrong, the adrenaline was pumping, my heart rate was racing. Man, it feels good to get a bluff through. We are now 7-handed. There's a button straddle, a small blind call for 25. A player in the big blind goes all in for his last $300, and I've got now pocket 6s in the big blind. I feel like with a pair versus a short stack here, I can re-raise as an isolation play, and unfortunately for us, the small blind player who limped for 25 now jams all in for around $1,000. Well, I'm already in for $600. It's not even 50 big blinds, so I decided to make the call, and we are 3 ways here, all in with pocket 6s, and we're actually in a very good spot, up against 8-9 suited and ace-4 of clubs. What do I do?
You know, at 19. You're at 19 on the first board. Give it a YouTube blog or something.
That's okay.
2 times.
You guys. I like these.
All right, John.
Put a 6 out there. Put a 6. That's it, right? Oh, shit.
5.
That's a straight right there.
Wait, no, where?
No straight. No, here we go. Second board.
Jesus Christ.
Another 6? 7, 8, 9?
Put another 6. Put another 6.
Thank you.
9?
Full house.
Chop.
Anyone need drinks?
I hit a set on the first board. I end up chopping up the main pot and then chopping up the side pot as well. So I think I made some money here. Well, we're down to now 3 or 4 handed. We decided to do a $500 flip here to finish off the night. Finishing up.
What'd you think of the game, Eric? It was a
I thought
pretty
it
good
was
game.
a lot of fun.
Did you break even?
No.
What are we doing?
I don't
PLO flip, right? Just flip the cards over?
No.
One at a time.
Oh, one at a time. One at a time. Lex will flip first, then you got to beat whatever he's showing.
Oh, okay.
That's how we do it.
I get it.
Makes it a little bit better this way.
I could use
Wait, how many boards? One board.
Just one more.
I was getting ready to do 2 boards.
All right, I have a flush.
That's all me.
I
flip
got pocket 6.
I'm full.
You got to beat a 3.
I'm already a full house.
Technically, he's playing
There it
4.
is right there.
Oh my
There
God.
it is, right there.
You go.
Right there. Thank you, gentlemen.
Diamond.
Ooh, I told you I got a flush.
He's got a flush?
Nobody
Got a
likes
flush.
you right now. Hold on, you got like a million ounce to a
I know, I do.
I know.
Wait, oh, you have.
Lower flush.
Oh, I got a blocker to another flush.
What do I need?
Oh, I got a good blocker.
You need a fucking.
Alright, I think I have a straight.
All right, well, he's got 3 cards to hit a board.
I'm drawing dead.
I'm not really happy. I'm really not looking
Right
good.
on the first
Just
one.
lost $500 last
one.
You could get a.
All right, second one.
I'm not feeling good about this one. Hey, can I sell you insurance?
Wow, how do you fade it all?
Diamonds.
Hey, where are you going? Get back. Get back. What? Hey. All right, guys, that is it for this one. Back at the apartment now. I got to see the little puppies. I'm going to take them on a walk after this. Today was actually a pretty long day for me. I played almost 8 hours of poker. I went to the gym. I got money. I took care of these dogs. I made a poker vlog. I got to make dinner. I got to take the dogs on a walk. It's a long day for me. 8 hours of poker. I usually play 4 or 5 hour poker sessions. So 8 hours of poker is kind of a lot. But that game was insane tonight. So much action, so many crazy hands going down. I was getting out of line. I was getting in there, trying to mix it up a little bit. I definitely lost some money by playing a little bit too crazy, but you got to give action to get action. I ended up pulling that big bluff there with 5-6 of spades, 3-bet pre-flop, bet the flop, bet the turn, bet $2,200 on the river with 6 high and got that bluff through. And then I got pocket aces. I 3-bet. An opponent 4-bet jammed all in for $1,400. I called. He's got ace 5 suited versus my aces, and we chop. So I can't win with aces, but I do know someone who can win with aces. This hand just happened when I walked in the door. Pocket aces versus pocket kings versus pocket kings for a $788,000 pot. Probably one of the craziest live stream hands I have seen. And honestly, probably one of the craziest cash game spots you can really ever get in. I mean, getting aces to kings is pretty rare. To get aces to kings and then get all in and win is also pretty rare. So some people know how to win with aces. Some people crush the high stakes, and some people chop with aces and are stuck at 5-10 no limit. I know my place. One day we're going to win with aces, though. We're going to win. We're going to beat ace 5 suited one day. But hope you guys enjoyed this one. We ended up losing $500 on the session today, which I think is a win because at one point I was down like $3,000. Did that flip at the end. And yeah, we lost that as well. $500 loss, no big deal. I am going to take these dogs for a walk. I'm going to eat some dinner. I'm going to relax, go to sleep, and then go play some more poker tomorrow. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Until next time, I'll see ya.